to war with me. You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. Coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. So you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. For the throne.
Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, 'cause that's what it takes.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let me get my special guest in here tonight. May, how are you doing? Mediocre.
Hey!
May, it's been like forever since we've talked with you.
I'm barely ever doing a YouTube, so I'm really stoked to be back and hanging out with you guys. Hope you're doing well.
Let me put everybody's big shiny bugs up there for a second. May and Mediocre, tell the folks how to find you, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Okay, I'm on X, I'm on Instagram. Mostly I'm on X these days, but I got to get back to YouTube at Markets with May. Help support my channel. I'm going to do a lot more with it this year, I think.
And Mr. Mediocre, a.k.a. the trust fund baby.
Nice. I like it.
Hey, that somebody called me that, like somebody was trying to troll me. Interesting.
It's one of the best insults out there, though. Mediocre.
I think it's nice. I mean, I wouldn't take it the wrong way as far as that goes.
You can find me at X at Mediocre Trader 1. You can find me on YouTube, just Mediocre Trader, and look for the monkey guy.
So tonight, we've been trying to put this together, this live stream for, I don't know, many weeks, maybe a month. And May and I were finally, I've been saying, May, that I'm going to get you on, but you and I have only been trying to coordinate the timing for a few days.
Yeah, not even.
But I've been promising the audience that I was going to bug you and get you on here to talk about Webull. So I'm sorry to throw you under the bus and put you on the spot, but I have no position in Webull, just so we're clear. Mediocre Trader likes it because of the high IV for trading. Mediocre, give us why are you trading Webull without getting into the financials? What do you like about it?
Well, real quick, it got 2 price targets recently, one for 19, one for 18. It's got high implied volatility on the options chain, which I like to roll the wheel strategy a lot. So for me, it's just collecting the premium,
Cool.
And I've been, in a little bit of my free time looking through some of the financials on Webull, and then realizing, like many of these financial companies this one's a mess, and this might be, it's a mess to understand, right? And
it's got some things.
This one might be even more complicated. So I wanted to kind of look at some of the filings with you and have Mediocre here, because he's probably spent more time looking at the filings even than I have and listening to earnings calls and such. But we had, just to recap on the chart real quick, it was a SPAC up until April of 2025, and they have 2 earnings, I guess, behind them now. Is that right, Mediocre?
Yeah.
The most recent one was August 28th, so we're a bit behind the 8 ball. But it's been trading in this range of $10 to $18, mostly around 13 to $15. And the other thing that I just want to point out, Mediocre mentioned the analyst forecast. We have 2 analysts covering the stock with price targets of $18 and $19 updated in September, so fairly recently. So that's kind of the setting the foundation for what we're going to talk about. Now, May, have you had a chance to look through any of the earnings or financial statements? I've got a few documents, maybe even this more detailed breakdown of the management comments.
Could I add to that, Tony, quickly before we
go ahead?
I also wanted to add that, not that Robinhood has anything to do with it, but Robinhood is trading very well, and that's only U.S. based, where this is other part of my thesis too, is you have Webull that's worldwide. They're picking up markets all over the place. So I wanted to throw that out there too.
Okay.
And I want to throw out there that I'm a Florida native, and this thing did a kind of a reverse. It looks like a reverse merger of a SPAC, essentially, basically doing the old, I don't feel like dealing with all the filings, so I'm going to buy a company that's more or less bust out of St. Pete. Thank you for doing that. We love it when people take over companies in Florida. Yeah. That made me giggle because that's not actually where I grew up.
Whatever they got to do, May, they got to get access to that capital market,
Yeah, it's a thing. If you took your company public and you got no money, this is what you do. It's a solid move,
It looks like just let's go over a couple of highlights from their slide deck before we try and dig into the financials. And this is the more, what do we want to call it? The massaged management version. This is what they want folks to see and focus on. It'll have adjusted, but total revenues is up year over year. Operating expenses is up 20%. Operating profit went from a negative to a positive on adjusted operating profit. I think one thing Mediocre keeps on telling me he's really excited about is they are relaunching crypto in the US that had been paused for a while, correct, Mediocre?
Yeah, it got stopped during the Biden administration.
And as Mediocre said earlier, they're expanding their access globally, including Europe and Latin America. So a brief look at the roadmap there. Mm-hmm. User accounts. What do you think as far as total user accounts, May? Year over year, 21 million to 24 million. Does that number seem low to you? Does the growth rate seem slow, normal?
I mean, it's kind of on the lower side, if I'm honest. You know what I mean? For something that is this young. But in fairness, you had a little bit of a slowing. Overall. It's weird because right now the broker business is a strange one because you had maybe a slowing of account growth, but you've had more churn than you've ever had before. And that shows even on the exchanges when they report.
Someone who's a Robinhood investor, let us know, because I don't know, maybe Mediocre or May you do. How many users do they have?
I'll have to do that research. I never do.
That'd be a good little checkpoint to compare to Webull.
Yeah.
And then wait, hold on. A fund account size is kind of important. Hold on, let me see. Let me just look at that. Okay. Oh, funded accounts. My bad. Sorry.
Funded accounts in millions, 4.73, slight increase year over year.
Yeah. So I think between the two of these, that's not really super exciting, but it's, it's.
But if they grow it, if you start seeing those bars higher, that would be exciting.
Very exciting. Yeah, it's true.
Q2 business results, customer assets reached all-time high in Q2, driven by market recovery and strong net deposits. So 15.9 billion, up from 9.7 billion year over year. That's a pretty healthy increase. Net deposits up, looks like what, 400 million?
Yeah, I mean, and it's nice if you take the customer assets and you divide it by the previous slide of the number of accounts. So people are putting more money in per account. It looks like, I mean, I'm going to assume they might have a slide that already shows the increased size of.
I think Webull also pays the most. Like if you have cash in your account just sitting there, I think they pay the most out of all the brokers for interest. I think that's also the case.
Dr. Burry says Robinhood 26.5 million customers. So that, I mean, that's pretty similar.
So it's kind of starting to, yeah.
There is growth on equity notional volume and options contract volume, 58% and 8% year over year.
I'm a little surprised by the options number because I would have thought it would have been a lot higher, but.
Since they target retail traders, May, you would think so, right?
Yeah, it's been a really weird year. So the SIBO, when they reported, I've been nothing but flabbergasted every quarter by how much growth they're showing. And it is actually coming from retail. So it's kind of a weird dynamic in the industry right now in general. But that's good. I'd rather them not have so many option traders blow up their accounts. The joys of being in options. You got to blow up at least once, right? You know what I
mean? We've all done it over the years.
Let's be really real. If we're going to be really real, let's do it.
My worst was the .com blow up, May. Right before that, it was impossible to lose on any options trade. And then one day, none of them worked. And if you were biased all on call options, you got screwed.
I mean, that giggle is not a happy, funny giggle, by the way. It's more of a.
I'll try to be very careful with options.
Yeah, be so careful with it. So I'd rather, especially given the size of the account, I'd rather them have more, like, not necessarily be trying to grow the living daylights out of options.
Total revenues up 46% year over year, significantly outpacing growth in expenses, which were up 20%, adjusted.
That's adjusted, and I wanted to. Yeah, we're gonna have.
Yeah,
to go
we're gonna dig into the real numbers in a minute. I'm just kind of going through what they want us to see first.
Yeah.
Adjusted operating profit 17%, adjusted net income 11% increase. Wait, is that increase? Oh yeah, year over year. Trading related revenues increased 63%. What do we have here? Equity in dark blue, option in medium blue, and platform and trading fees in the lightest blue.
Oh, wait, go back to that real quick. Okay, so the options revenue is actually increasing pretty dramatically then.
And it is considerably higher than equity revenue too.
Okay, so they've got not necessarily more dollar value in the options, but they're just turning them. That seems right. I mean, vol's been beautiful this year. So hopefully those people are turning, but increasing versus churning and blowing up. I mean, there was
good information, you know?
Yeah. Look, I'm rooting for you guys at all times, you know, because I you know, like.
What? You're not a degenerate gambler like we are, May? What do you mean rooting for you guys?
Oh.
I always will just about saying that the ladies should have like good luck in the markets. Come on now.
Oh, you were okay. I see. You were differentiating between men and women traders. Interest related income increased 14% year over year. What do we got here? Stock lending, margin financing, client cash, and corporate cash. All right. Adjusted operating expenses grew primarily due to brokerage and transaction expense, driven by higher trading volumes and increased marketing spend. Contra revenue, unaudited reconciliations. Well, I want to go into those on this document. So what else? What else do we got here? The press release from that same earnings call. And then we'll get into the actual document.
Yeah.
It says in the second quarter, they raised proceeds of over $200 million from the exercise and redemption of all incentive warrants issued in connection with the closing of the business combination. May, I don't know if you also saw they have an open equity purchase agreement for up to $1 billion, which was, for me, that was something that kind of made me take a deep breath and a pause, but I don't know if I'm overreacting to that. They did talk about it in the earnings call about they will only use that as needed to grow the business. How does that strike you?
Yeah, I mean, we got to take a look at the balance sheet is how that strikes me.
It says, oh, look, here's a bullet point. It says, subsequent to the close of the second quarter, we announced in July our entry into a standby equity purchase agreement, allowing us to access $1 billion of capital at our discretion. As of August, we have raised $142 million under this agreement. I've seen too many people get burned by these equity agreements just to ignore it. That's why I've been very hesitant to jump into saying much about Webull, but maybe we can figure it out. Here's the balance sheet, May.
Yeah, well, so just to give a bit of context that I think sometimes makes it hard. So with the financials, a lot of times what makes it a little bit more difficult than other financial statements is that a lot of stuff is backwards what you think it is relative to a regular company. So with broker dealers or brokers, really, I don't think they're doing much issuance. They are going to mostly make their bread and butter off of fee-based revenue, so it's transaction fees. And then when you look at it, you really need to match up what all the expenses are, because the bigger expense of any broker is going to be the technology expense. So then you do have to get a sense for what is the nature of that expense. Is it actually doing what it's supposed to do? And the reason Webull does actually break up its income statement such that you can start to ask some interesting questions. The major question being, is this getting economy of scale or not, which is the first one. And then the second one, because they have options, there's a whole set of secondary businesses that go along with having a derivatives business, not the least of which is making sure that you've got enough cushion for the risk associated with it. And so if we start with just the income statement, then go to how do we then think about the incomes, or how would I think about the income statement? This is really, you pinged me. I had a bunch of stuff, and then I went through the financials and said, let's do it. So to speak. Yeah.
What do you want to direct us to kind of help us think through the income statement?
Let's start with the income statement. Let me give you some stuff around it that one would need to understand. To be fair, I don't have a strong opinion either way, because this is a younger broker dealer, and with younger broker dealers, you kind of need to see a few more quarters, visibly see. But more importantly, what they say on the earnings call is very important. And the reason you need to see a few more quarters is because you're trying to understand how they handle different risk environments, particularly if they have an options business. So right this minute, when I'm looking at it, equity options order flow rebates, you've got this beautiful growth that looks like something like 48%. Is that, I don't know what the number is. Anyways, 43, whatever 68 divided by 43 is, that's telling you, that's kind of what we expect given what the exchanges told you happened. So, you listen to the Nasdaq call, you listen to the SIBO call and everybody else's call, and they all told you that volumes were up like crazy. Their earnings are also fantastic for the size that they are, but they're a more mature company. So when they post these crazy growth numbers, it's a big deal. For these guys, all they got to do is capture market share, and we can kind of see from the account side, is it growth in accounts or is it growth in churn? It's growth in churn. And then we want to ask ourselves, what was the market like? Well, the market was volatile as heck. So, so that actually makes sense to me that they would do just fine during this period of time. And we, of course, want to ask ourselves, do we see continued volatility going into the next few quarters such that we feel good about this revenue number, where it's going to go, or are they going to have to start growing accounts to compensate for that lack of churn? Okay. So those are all ways that we start to look at and think about the income statement here. For definitely what Mediocre is saying is true. And that's what makes it such a fun thing, because as long as you've got that vol, it's provided these guys don't do something really stupid on their side, on the risk side. And then I can help you out to think about things that you already know that you can look for during this period. But provided they don't do anything truly stupid, this should be a pretty decent environment for them to not screw it up. In other words, it's a sweet spot sort of environment going into the back half of the year, because I do think you still have a fair amount of disagreement on how the year's going to pan out, even though you've seen overall volatility come in a touch from that first craziness of the early part of this year, where vol was stabilizing at like 18. What the heck was that? Okay. Vol should not stabilize at a place where someone could drive. Do you know what I'm saying? We like vol when it's still underage. Okay. So that's how I'm thinking about it. All right. So you got interest related income. That shouldn't be, that's just because rates have been what they are in the United States as well as other places. And so, that's going to come in as rates come in. So that's something just to watch for. But some of this interest related income is going to be the fact that they're probably getting margin interest on people just going slightly over. Okay. And so that one also kind of keep in your back of your head. So this is really, I'm just trying to give you texture and context you guys probably know this, but maybe some of our viewers will find this helpful as they think about how does the fact that I'm a degenerate trader relate to how do I think about this earnings, so to speak. You could use everything that's already happened to you to really be able to feel the texture of what's going on here. Okay. Handling charge income. That could be a number of things, but it's usually some kind of, weird transaction fee related to just getting stuff in and out of your account properly. You said they had a crypto business, so there could be some things that are being tagged this way. I'm not accustomed to seeing this as a line item. Maybe it's called something else in other broker dealers. So that one, I did not get a chance to go through the annual report, but it'll probably state it clearly there what that is exactly. That being a double, if we got a little extra time, we should take a quick look. And then other revenue, usually is the catch-all. This is actually a pretty decent uptick. So that one, I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Now, the thing that kind of made me think, that's weird, is if you so brokerage and transaction should relate to that first line item, equity and option order flow. The thing that kind of made me a little weirded on this was that you have, if we just did a margin where we took the expenses and we divided by the revenue to get some kind of margin. What I don't super love is that it kind of looks like the margins are lower dollar for dollar traded. And that's weird to me because it's a volume business. You know what I'm saying? And then when I look at the technology, is it coming from the fact that they're doing something on technology? And so the expenses are, that's not what I'm quite seeing here.
Is what you're saying just a second ago, like you're seeing the equity and option revenues went up maybe, let's say roughly 50%, but the brokerage expenses doubled?
Yeah, you're just 34 divided by 68 or 34 plus 19 divided by 68, and then compare that to 18 plus 15 divided by
gotcha.
33. You know what I'm saying? I'm just it's hard to say if that is, so should I include the technology and development? If it were an older company, I would say, no, you should not, because it's supposed to be economy of scale business. And then your tech is supposed to be there for business growth into other countries, into other asset types. Now we got a lot going on in crypto, especially with stablecoin coming online in the United States. So I could see the tech being just directed at that. And so I'm not thrilled. I would have to watch it for a couple more quarters to understand what's driving the you know what I mean? Yep. So you should see unambiguous for most broker dealers, right? What really is a broker dealer? It's a volume-based business. The more volume you have, the lower your general cost should be. And here, that doesn't look like what's happening here. So it would just be a function of understanding what is the nature of what's going on here. Some of the other things it could be cost to borrow. So if they're doing a strange prime business, but you really should be charging that right straight to your customer. You shouldn't be trying to eat any of that. That scares me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So that's not my favorite thing. The general administrative, because they talked about, in a couple other places, they're showing you stock compensation, stuff like that. I'm not as upset or worried or concerned in any kind of way. Also, because they also just did this, they got some corporate costs from doing some of this stuff, that's one time in nature. I would tend to think you'd see it in G&A, whereas you shouldn't see it in broker and transaction, which should be pure variable cost.
One thing I see people do a lot on YouTube, May, is these kind of drive-by high-level analysis. Not you, but talking about other channels where, G&A went from 31 to 50. Oh, that's awful. But they don't ever go in and read the management notes to understand why did it increase? What is that? So I just want to encourage you guys, as you're doing your analysis of any company, make sure you're going in and reading a 10Q or a 10K and looking at the management notes relative to those items, especially if you see something that looks like it had a big uptick, to see if it was a one-time related thing or not. It's important to understand stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm happy to give them a hall pass for this one because it looks okay to me. So with all of that, it's really, those are the pieces that I'm a little bit like on the expense side that concern me a bit. The adjustments all look like they're adjusting that G&A for the various for paying their bankers, basically, is what it is to do this whole transactions that they've been doing to try to get public here in the United States and be tradable here. So I don't mind that too much. Most of that 21 is probably that, but I would like to understand a little bit why the brokerage and transaction stuff is doing what it's doing.
But then we have this other line item, other expense net, 17 million.
I don't know what that is.
Which gives, when you add that into the loss here, that gives them 21 million plus income tax, or I guess this is billion, right?
Yeah.
Or is it million? I don't even know, but at any rate, it's a net loss of 28. And so I bet we can.
Yeah, I'd love to find out what that is. I wonder if it's when they bought that company to reverse themselves into it, if that company also had a nice juicy loss that they could take against taxes. But I couldn't find anything. That's what I was looking for.
I found a note here in a filing.
Oh! Okay,
it says other expense net. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Our other expense net increased 16 million for the 3 months ending June 30th because of expensing 10.9 million of equity offering costs.
Okay.
Recognizing an increase of 4.1 million in foreign currency exchange losses, and incurring 1.5 million of interest expense, of which 1.2 pertains to accrued interest on 100 million of outstanding unsecured promissory notes. So we got a mixed bag there.
Yeah, it is a mixed bag. The FX, the FX, I hope in the future they start breaking that out a little bit, but that kind of makes sense given the mix of what their client base is. The interest expense is a weird place to shove it, to be honest. There should just be a different line item called interest expense, but sometimes for brokers, they do things a little different. I don't know on that. Is there a cash flow statement? Because I just looked at the release. I didn't see a full filing.
Let me find it.
Sometimes with these brokerage cash flow statements, it's a little crazy to kind of walk through it, to be fair.
The other thing while I'm searching for the cash flow statement, I wanted to say that I know Mediocre, you're not trading this as like a long-term buy and hold, right, Mediocre?
No, he's having fun.
I just trade. You know what I do? I trade options when they get kicked out.
Right. I'm just for the 4-hour audience. I want to be clear. We're not like looking at this as a buy and hold stock. It's too early, but you liked it because
just trading it.
You're looking at and hoping today that we say that it's relatively safe to swing trade or wheel trade it, right?
Yeah. I want to just, hopefully get some price appreciation and, make sure the financials are pretty good, which I think they're not terrible, right? But I don't know.
They're
There's
not
some things,
hideous.
yeah. There's some questionable things in there that I don't like,
Yeah.
I wanted May's opinion on that.
I would say I don't think they're hideous, but I do think that it's going to be scary around earnings because there are enough little things that they're not breaking out clearly and I don't think that, look, by the way, broker dealer stuff is complex. So this is not a criticism like they're hiding something. This is kind of a first pass. Usually with a lot of the financials, I've been seeing them for years. So I kind of know what it is from some past part of the story. So this not a criticism, but it's not hideous. Let's see. It's not hideous. It's not ugly. I wouldn't say it's beautiful though either. You know what I'm saying? No. So it's like better than average. Let's call it.
It's all. They need to keep gaining accounts and growing their platform. If they continue to do that.
I'm not seeing so far, May, a detailed cash flow statement.
That's okay.
But we have selected consolidated cash flow data. What was it that you're looking for specifically?
I would say sometimes on the cash flow statement, they'll break out these charges where it's hard to find the notes for. And it's okay if they don't have it because this is the quarterly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the annual report. Sometimes in the annual report they'll be more clear with it. This happens. It's very common. And there's rarely is there such a thing as a really easy to read broker dealer financial statement. So
there were a lot of things that made me like, oh shoot, man, this is not an easy analysis because the financial statements are just different because it's a financial institution. B, all of the stuff that we're used to seeing is not available on a lot of these quarterly reports. And we had the SPA agreement. We had the unexplained loss, although I'd finally found the note there that we just went over today. And so for me, when I'm trying to talk with Mediocre, like, what do I think? It's hard to say. What do I think?
I mean, it's as far as the financials go, again, the macro is on their side. You do have to kind of watch the expense. I would say one of the things that it would be really lovely if they could do this in future earnings, because they're still a younger company, especially in the United States, as a listed United States company. But one of the lovely things they could do is let us know what countries they're in. I don't know if they're going to ever do that, if they feel like that's some competitive thing. But given how big that FX charge is, sure would be nice. It's because it looks like FX is going to swing them around over the years until they disclose that out for people.
They talk about what countries they're in. Like they're like almost the number one broker in Canada right now.
No, I mean like as a percentage of assets, so that you can see very clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really break that down here in their slide deck, does it? Nope.
Because the FX is really, I mean, like we're talking about $4 million charges here. We got these crazy interest expenses in another spot. Like it would be nice, it'd be nice to just point to it and be like that, like, that is a euro issue. That is a yen issue. That is a RMB or yen, I guess they're calling it now, to whatever issue.
May, when we're looking at a balance sheet for a company like this, is there anything different that you typically see compared to a company that sells like goods or services?
Yeah, you just kind of got to look at how they divide it out. Because first of all, the payables due to customers, that's not really, that's going to be straight against the segregated account. So you just want to make sure that those numbers match up, and how exactly. So there are a couple of here. Okay, so payables due to customers, payables due to broker dealers. Here, if we compare it to cash and cash equivalents segregated under federal and foreign requirements, receivables, I would say that that's not my favorite thing to see because it looks like they got some leverage going on in here and in the nature of what they're doing for clients. So, I get it. Okay. Some of their stuff is going to be held in a particular way so that they can do a set of things so that someone in country A can invest in country B. I get that. But you can see that the cash and cash equivalent segregated under federal and foreign requirements is lower than the payables due to customers, which is most likely customer accounts.
And that you would prefer that those numbers be closer to each other, or that the cash and cash equivalents be higher?
Closer, if not the same. So like in a lot of the US brokers, they'll be almost more or less the same.
What about if we add the top line?
Wait a second. If you add the top line to it, okay, so then there's no separate cash for the company separate. Yeah. It's not bad. It's not terrible. Look, it's not terrible because it could just be the way that they're working out the way that they display their accounting. But usually, okay, so this is usually how, so they are stating it a little differently. So let me just remind everybody that when a company is not from the United States, they tend to do their financials, how they do their financials. And then as time goes on, they start to present their financials to something that would be more obvious to the eyes of an American investor. So, if they're used to reporting in every country, in the US, what you typically see is a line item that's like called segregated accounts or accounts held in custody or something like that. And then you would see that equivalent line in another spot. And then, it'd be like restricted cash or something like that, where you could clearly see how it maps back. And it's not, just plain old cash for the firm so it can manage working capital stuff. Okay. Here it's a little bit hard to tell, so it's not the easy, that generally speaking is going to make this a little bit harder to read for, a classic person looking through broker dealers. But the fact is, with broker dealers, sometimes you've got this, for lack of a better way to say it. With receivables from broker dealers and clearinghouse organizations, that 307 is against the 38. Okay, so that already tells me that some of that payables due to customers is in that number.
Yep.
Which again makes it a little bit hard. So what is that? That's why I'm saying it might be the way that they're helping like a person to get exposure to another country, because that kind of looks to me like that's the prime brokerage business, like the equivalent of a prime brokerage business, meaning some people don't really understand what that business does in the scheme of things. Okay. What that business does is it allows you to do stuff that's not straightforward, for lack of a better way to describe it. Okay. So prime brokers will do things like create, synthetically give you exposure. Okay, that's like a mouthful, but let's say you're in Germany. Oh, this is one we all know and love as AMC people, right? You're in Germany, you want a little exposure to AMC, right?
Here we go down the synthetic
Germany. Sorry, guys. All right, look, shout out to the people that know me from that period. Okay, I haven't forgotten you. I've not forgotten you. Okay, so
don't feed the beast.
I know my fan base. Whatever. I'm just kidding.
Let me get out the moonshine, mediocre. Here we go.
Sorry, so exactly. I try to keep it fun when I'm hanging out with you guys.
It's just water. It's just water. Chill out. Chill.
It's Monday night. We're all getting older. We're gonna actually try to keep it calm for a Monday night. Okay, so that could be something like the prime. It could be the equivalent of what would be a U.S. prime broker function, is giving you that exposure to U.S. stocks via whatever it's then holding for you. So it's possible. I don't look at a lot of international broker dealers. So that might be what that 307 is, in which case then the modifications that you're making, if you're accustomed to US, is you're going to take all three of those numbers and compare it to that payables due to customers. Yeah. So this is what makes it a little bit hard. I think it's probably okay personally. If I'm wrong here, but even if I'm wrong, they got a nice tailwind in this environment to be fine.
The other thing maybe that I think would be important for us to touch on, May, and maybe you can direct us to where you might look, is how do we feel about this $1 billion SPA agreement?
Yeah,
like you said before, look at the balance sheet, but could we also look at like the operating cash flow on something like stock analysis? Can we even believe what's over here?
Well, it's gonna be a little, with broker dealers, with all financials. I do think that these like the feeds are a little bit difficult because you got a couple of types of income, and you've got a couple of types of things that you're going to have on the balance sheet that will make no sense from I'm pulling it into because these programs are trying to make things standard so that people can see them. And there's nothing standard about a financial. There's like 3 industries that make those things really painful. The first one's financials, but the other 2 would be utilities and energy. Once they pull through to the feeds, you get kind of this really weirdness.
The feeds, you mean like trying to decipher it on stock analysis?
Yeah, because, if you think about it, all those things are doing is they're either scraping SEC filings or they're pulling from another data vendor who has done approximately that. And, it's trying to use AI to categorize stuff. But in the financials, you've got a lot of different ways of naming things and a lot of things that aren't standard.
Yeah.
So it is like, for example, question mark, it would be like a big question. So for banks, for example, unambiguously, you would not use EBITDA because almost all of it's interest income, right? For a broker dealer, these guys in particular have enough interest income. My suspicion is that sometimes you see FX movements booked as interest income. So it's going to really screw up any attempt to try to pull in from a data feed, depending on what they're naming that thing. And so that's not ideal if you're trying to just use, Yahoo Finance or something like that, or Thomson Reuters or whatever it is your Bloomberg is your happy place for pulling data. Earnings will probably be right because it's at the bottom. Revenue will probably be right to a lesser extent, depending. For a bank, revenue isn't necessarily going to be right. I'll tell you that. That's what's crazy. For banks, private equity firms, asset managers, you're going to have to double check that revenue is actually right when you read it. It's a weird world. It is a weird world. But
which is why I mostly don't trade those equities.
Yeah. Okay, so if back to our story though, what I would love to, if we could scroll down just a touch, we got total liabilities, we got total assets. So it's interesting because these would be the normal places that I would be interested. So you said it's $1 billion. Okay, so it's $1 billion, and what's that for, right? Okay, so if the reason why it's smart for them to have it, and I can understand why, the board or whatever, when they were talking, were like, yeah, we should have something like that, is because it's for this, the question that I had earlier, which is, what is the nature of that payables due to customers and the 1.1 476 and 307, right? How's that map out? And then as a result, what is the cash left over for working capital? Yeah, that's a little bit hard to see here. Unless, I'm sure that there are people that have been following Webull since it first produced any statements for anybody to look at, and those people probably know. So I'm not thinking that they don't know, but let's say there was any type of let's say that 307 happened to have special sauce to it, meaning like you couldn't. The nature, so let's say in the case of AMC, that because the U.S. markets are closed at a certain hour, we can't necessarily be unwinding our positions while the U.S. market is closed, except if we had to then go to the overnight market, which is highly aggressively traded. Okay, well, then it would be nice to have a little bit of cash money, right? Just on the sidelines, so that we're not forced to be this massive crazy seller of some sort. So it could be just straight up, we just want cushion on our prime business because we know that we're trading and there's a timing differential between some of the markets that we're trading. So we don't want to have anyone think that they can push us. That's one thing. And I would be mostly okay with that, although you got to absorb whatever that billion whenever it comes, for sure, 100%. The only other thing it could be is that there is some risk that they see in the nature of what they're trading or would like to trade in the future, and so they're reserving against it. Potentially, There are some reserves that I expect some companies to take this quarter coming up as stablecoin comes online. And it's not that, stablecoin is mostly reserved by treasuries. Still, there may be some other things that folks intend to do that they want to just shore up a little excess capital. So you're just going to have to, yeah. Those are two things. I'm going to have to really search if I have to come up with a third. So please don't press me.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
That's all I got is two today for you. There may be a third.
May, how do you feel about the SPAC investors who are allowed to sell up to 25% of their stake? What do you think of that?
It's like a bandage. Sometimes you just want to let it pull it off, but because it's not pleasant, no matter what it is, you can either trickle it out or you could spit it out. If in this market environment where you've got good macro in your favor, is very annoying probably to any of the equity investors that intend to come in and just be like supportive of Webull because you got this headwind. But if you think about it, the worst thing would be if they were doing it in a bad market environment for them. So, there's no good way if you're going to do this kind of thing, there's no great way to get rid of the old management team. Sorry, guys. That's essentially what's happening.
To get rid of what?
Because they reversed into this. So this is basically old, there's no way. You got to get rid of them. Sorry. It is what it is. Biggest smile I can muster on that one. Sorry.
It's okay. We're not in love with the stock. We're just trying to figure out what is the relative safety of holding it while swing trading or running the wheel.
Yeah. I think this thing is going to be volatile. And this, again, like I said, it's a better than average looking stock. So let's say it that way. Because, and really the reason I would give it a little bit more benefit of the doubt is this is, you have heard me say the meanest things on Twitter about Robinhood, but the fact is it's a good market environment for what they do. And so they should take a shot at increasing the size of accounts. They should take a shot at trying to do all kinds of stuff because the market's allowing them to do it right now. And it would be silly to just sit there and not play a good game of cards, so to speak,
Mediocre, doesn't that kind of excite you about Webull too? Like what if Webull is the undiscovered Robinhood?
Well, that's the volatility's fun. I think if you put the two platforms side by side, my opinion, anyways, from a charting standpoint, is Webull smokes Robinhood in that.
On a charting perspective,
right? Like if you use the desktop version of Webull, even their phone version is better than Hood's, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean that's the other side of it too that I look at.
With
as
this
a trader, I used to Thinkorswim, but I also have Webull, but I refuse to use Robinhood. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
I know I'm not the only one who thinks that way, but I don't know.
They're saying Mediocre, the forward PE on Webull is 101 with a trailing PE of 37. If we look at Hood, forward PE is actually lower, 74, but a trailing PE of 73.
Well, they got those crazy one-time charges. So
yeah.
It depends what they're using for that E.
We need a couple more quarters behind us on Webull, like you said, May. Don't you think?
Yeah, but won't that make for some fun ball times? What I mean? Yep. Mediocre's gonna have a good time for a little while. I would say the other.
Show me the money. That's it.
Yeah, just careful and not for very long is really how I'd say. But the other thing that you just have to watch out for on the macro that's a little different from Hood is just that international exposure. I would love it if they just broke out the countries as a percentage of that revenue, which might be a little hard to do because you really do have two-sided trades, given the nature of what they're trying to do. One leg may be in one place, one leg may be in another, and then that part that I'm saying is 306 that looks like the prime business, they may be sitting in the middle taking the risk. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay, I think it does. All right, let me know if it doesn't. But then in the middle, you got a little bit of FX action going on. If they could divide it up so people could see it, that's what I mean by it'd be a little easier to be like, oh, that's a euro issue, or oh no, that's a Japanese yen issue. Yeah.
Mediocre, do you have any questions for May?
No, I appreciate her coming on and talking about it with us. Going over.
I'm really glad. I'm gonna watch this thing when it's balls. This looks like it's gonna be fun.
Hey, May,
I may not play, but I will cheer you guys on.
I mean, last Tuesday it ran up to 1604 or something like that.
Yeah,
and,
that's fun.
It pulled back quite a bit. So I'd imagine it's going to trade in this range, just bounce back and forth for a while. I know they got an $18, $19 price target on it, but I think 15, 50, 16, that's pretty good sell area. If you can buy it around, $13.50 to $14 and let it run up there, you can make some good money. That's just what I think.
Hey, May, do you remember that little penny stock I told you about a couple months ago? You said, don't discount it, Tony.
Oh, no, I didn't
do you remember that conversation?
I remember, but I don't remember what stock it was. I've been distracted.
Look at this. It's up 50% in the last 6 trading days.
Congratulations. That's great.
Well, and that's not even
below that or above that.
No, I'm in the green on this one, but we haven't even gotten the press release yet that we're waiting on.
Interesting.
50% runs pretty good. And the other thing that I just wanted to ask you before we close up tonight, have you been following at all these warrant dividends that are hitting tomorrow on GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond?
No, I have not. I've been so busy. That's okay. So tomorrow's going to be a really fun trading day is what you're telling me.
Yeah. GameStop announced 1 warrant dividend for every 10 shares. And then a week later, Bed Bath & Beyond tagged along and did the exact same thing for distribution on the same day, which is tomorrow.
With Bed Bath & Beyond, that's a skill. I'm just going to give it to you, okay? Because that's not whoever digging.
It's Marcus Lemonis. Marcus Lemonis.
Solid, because you are digging in the trash and finding gems for real.
I think he's just copying what GameStop did. Like, he's really good at seeing what retail's interested in. Yeah. And he probably believes in his stock too. He's like, hell, let's do that. This is going to be in the news. Let's get on that train.
Yeah. How GameStop though, I tend to be like, I don't have any GameStop. Sorry guys that love GameStop, but I am rooting for the GameStop people because, we had that, it's been a long time since we were talking about, I think he's turning that thing into a private equity company. I still think that's what he's doing.
Oh boy, you're really going to get the people upset.
Sorry guys. Am I right? Don't get mad.
Well, it is becoming more obvious that you were correct, May, but because we don't know what he's going to do with that cash, but he keeps on stacking it. It doesn't really seem like let's let a couple more quarters go by and see what they do with operating revenues and profits. It's too early to call, but the reason I'm bullish on GameStop is because of that cash pile and whatever he intends to do with it. It's a big unknown. It's a big potential powder keg.
Yeah.
I like it.
Just have a little bit. Okay, I gotta look at GameStop tomorrow too for sure. Busy, but it's like crazy going in. Yeah, I think it's such an interesting market right now. She said that she likes, I'm a commentator. I'm a armchair quarterback. I don't usually get really aggressive on stocks I like. I'm trying to think of what I might have purchased recently. And you should do your own due diligence. Never follow me in. I make dumb mistakes like everybody else. Okay. What did I buy though recently? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be doing an episode on my channel on this Jackson Financial, ticker is JXN. So stay tuned. In a couple days, I'll be with a guy who's done, I think it's Small Cap Deegan. I always forget because I'm just so used to just reading his stuff on Twitter. But I'll be doing an episode on Jackson Financial, on the fundamentals there. I'm intrigued by it. It's not really a trader's kind of stock. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's more of a fundamental kind of thing. And either I'm right or I'm wrong. It's like one of those kind of things.
What's the ticker?
It's JXN.
All right.
It's basically a life insurer. It's got a couple other business lines, but the biggest part is like an annuity business.
All right. Well, you're going to do a live stream on it or a video or what?
I'll do it as live stream. I'm too lazy to edit it. So I'm too lazy to edit it.
Right.
I'm just being honest. It's really rough right now.
I feel
So
you.
busy, like doing the best I can for you guys.
I will listen in because I always like to hear your viewpoints on different tickers, and you cover way more tickers than I do.
Yeah.
Tony, real quick, throw Aspen aerogels up there. Did you see that thing today?
I did not. ASPN up 12%. Wow, Mediocre. What was their news?
I don't know. I didn't even check on it.
They've had 2 good days here, up from $7 to a high of $9, and pull back to 870.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad.
I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm gonna get kicked out of that one, Tony. They're gonna kick me out.
Could have bought in and doubled your money if you would have bought in at the low there at $4 in May, Mediocre.
Oh yeah.
What else was I gonna?
Got shares.
Frankie Esposito says, "Are we selling Railtown now based on the run up?" I don't give you any instructions like that on any ticker, Frankie. You do whatever fits your risk parameters. I can tell you for myself, I'm holding on to my Railtown position until, for better or worse, we get the announcement about the acquisition being complete. That's why it was important for me to do a fair amount of DD before plunking down my money to see, did I believe that these 2 companies intended to go through with the acquisition, and were they good management teams, and do they intend to do a relatively light dilution deal to get it done? So we'll find out, Frankie. But I mean, hey, up 50%. If you got in at 40 cents and you hit 60 today, for some people, they'd be like, peace out. I'm good. Others believe that it's going to go far higher than 60 cents. We'll see.
You guys are great trading these small names. I think I would not be able to. I would need a lot of caffeine.
Same comment Ethan had. Do we get out of Railtown on that run up?
I don't put much money into those. Like
they're fun.
I got a little bit of Railtown, but
there are
like if I lost money, I don't care.
Mediocre. There's channels dedicated to Railtown. This is a pre-revenue OTC ticker, May. Wow. The people I see in the comments, with the YouTubers that are covering Railtown every day for 5 hours a day, some of these people have $100,000 invested in this stock.
Wow.
No, I'm not.
Well, that's what's moving it around.
I mean, no. I'd love to see this ticker be successful for them. I don't make that kind of size trade on something like this, but I will put some money into it and hope that this juices my portfolio for the year. But I don't want to walk away saying, damn, I just lost $100,000 because I guessed wrong on the market's perception of the deal once it's announced,
Yeah, my stuff is slow, boring, moving, and then maybe occasionally I'm using, or maybe a lot often, I'm using options on top of it.
I think you're like me, May. You like the slow, boring stocks, the profitable blue chip companies, and unfortunately, there's just not a lot of people watching YouTube that want to hear about those.
I know. Yeah.
That's why I try to look for stocks like Webull, right? Something people will be interested in that are
those give us something fun to talk about, Mediocre. Right. But guys, you got to understand, we're not running huge size. Well, maybe Mediocre is on some of these trades, but if I can't categorize the risk, or I think it's highly speculative, I'm sizing my position appropriately.
I would say that if you guys are going to play, just be careful around financials earnings season, which does come up in a couple of weeks. I think JP Morgan reports. We can just Google search that really quick, so you guys know when the musical shares might stop abruptly. That's
a good point. As you're thinking about Webull, right?
Yeah, because they have when JP reports, usually it's JP City and Wells and maybe one or two others might report on the same day. And when they report, they tell you what their broker dealer did, and it necessarily impacts all the other broker dealers on top of it. So that can be very unpleasant if you're not aware of the date of it.
You hearing that, Mediocre?
Oh yeah.
We need to go find those dates for you.
Yeah, just so you know, and then you can decide how yeah, it is coming up.
A couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, it should be coming up here pretty short. I can't find the date. You know, these guys all hired someone to change their website, and I can't. It's not a good change in my opinion. Sorry, but I gotta be honest. Keep it real.
May, do you have any other tickers or topics you want to bring up before we close up tonight?
November 13th. I got
November 13th.
November
so
13th.
A month away.
Yeah.
Wait, is that right?
For Webull.
For Webull.
Webull.
What about for
yeah?
Which one?
Which one did you say, May? JP Morgan?
JP Morgan's usually the first big bank to report, and then it sets everything up. Hold on, wait. Nasdaq earnings calendar. It'll show it all. I think it should be coming up here really shortly.
I'll tell you right now. Look, hang on.
Reggie, thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, we're going to be here for 5 more minutes. This is your chance.
October 14th.
Yeah, it looks like the
14th.
Okay, so if you're trading it, just be a little careful on that Monday before October 14th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because people
October 14th. That's like literally right around the corner.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's why I wanted. Yeah. Earnings season kind of officially starts with JP Morgan. They'll all come out. I mean, I think they're going to come out really positively, better than most people expected. But that said, you know, it wouldn't be the first time you got a good earnings report and weird things happened afterwards. So I never have any idea of what direction these things are going to go. I mean, generally speaking, I actually think people are still not aware of how much the financials can flip in a positive way if you just have a couple things going in their direction.
Michael Anthony says, why are you looking at Bull? Let me just recap, Michael.
Why not, Michael?
I have no position in Bull. Mediocre is swing trading Bull based on high IV. And you're running the wheel. Is that a fair categorization of your trading strategy, Mediocre?
Sure, I like it.
But we're not talking about Webull as a long-term investment, at least not yet, because it's kind of early. Not enough data points on Webull. But it is the reason that we're talking about it is these type of financials, when they report, are very different than a lot of the companies that we look at. And I know that May in particular is way better than I am at looking at financial companies, financial statements, and pulling out what might be important. So we were able to line up everybody's schedule tonight and have May on to share some thoughts. But Mediocre's been trading Webull for what, several weeks, Mediocre?
Yeah, at least 5 weeks maybe. And
we've been, threatening to get May on here. May, thank you again for your time tonight.
No, thank you for making it work.
Especially, I know you have no position in Webull, just like I don't, but it's good to kind of walk through these. I certainly am not the expert on reading financial statements. You are much more so than me, and I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to walk us through some of the things to look at. It's all about learning, Michael Anthony. All about learning. It doesn't mean that you have to like the ticker.
That's right.
I don't know SoundHound AI. Is that a really fun one?
That one I just recently added in our Discord under the AI channel.
Oh, fun.
SoundHound is... Let's see.
That thing's up, Tony, from when it was $1.
Yeah, nice job.
What the hell?
Yeah, let me zoom out on this.
Nice job, guys.
93 cents in 2022, $1.66 in early 2024. Low this year was 648, and it's at 1825. Fantastic.
That's great. I love seeing people do well in the market.
Someone said, "Can you look at the chart and tell us what we think?" I mean, my first thought is this is definitely a up and to the right chart. I mean, it's up 18 times from 2023. I have not looked at the financials. I think we have some people in the Discord that are trading it. I've been distracted on other tickers, so I haven't looked at the financials on SoundHound, and
I haven't either.
So I'm not going to be much use to you, but just looking at the technicals, Mediocre, you might want to pull it up on your Thinkorswim and see what you see. If you see anything different than me, it is above the 50 and the 200 on the daily. It's above the 50 on the weekly. I mean, just technical wise, it looks pretty good. And I'm going to pull up real quick.
I mean, it's going up. The daily looks pretty good. The 4 hour.
So the big problem here is negative net income. But what AI company is bringing in positive net income right now?
What put this on your radar? Just
it's been hot in the retail community, May, because it has AI in the name. There's six analysts covering it. $14.50 price target, which is lower than the current price. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of them have given their price targets $17, $16, and $18 in the last month. So according to the analyst, it's close to where it should be trading.
Which is determined with a dartboard and some darts, I think.
Right, because you got no earnings to
be very scientific. It's very scientific.
These are fly by the seat of your pants as far as I'm concerned, because we got negative net income. What are you basing it off of?
It's worth more than Webull.
Yeah, it's mean.
Oh man.
I don't know. These are some really small cap, but looks like a lot of fun ones. Keith has got LPSN. I don't know that one. Maybe some of you guys do.
Live person. Yeah, that's another one. Same boat.
AI stocks move weird. Like BBAI moved up too. They moved from 550. I think it's somewhere around 7 right now. But
who am I to complain though, Mediocre? I mean, and I think you invested in Railtown too. Like don't listen to us about SoundHound, because we're invested in an AI company that has no revenue. Railtown.
Well, if you
got to roll the dice every now and then, just size your position accordingly.
If you could figure out if the technology is any good, you got a shot, maybe.
So I'll tell you guys something about BBAI that I did some research on. I'm pretty confident in saying that BBAI makes facial recognition software for the TSA. And I read that somewhere. So I don't hate BBAI, but it's trading at $7.69. You got this other one trading at 18. To me, it doesn't make much sense, other than I don't know why things do that sometimes, but I don't know.
Of all of them, Railtown, BBAI, and SoundHound, live person, and when we add that into the mix, their chart does not look as sharp. They're in a downtrend here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A long downtrend. God,
they could always split the sock and let it keep going. I'm just kidding. Get our reverse split.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, don't fall in love with one ticker if it's going the wrong way. Find something else you love in that sector.
Or a different sector, wherever the money is, go where that is.
Where the liquidity and the movement is. If you're one of those traders that's always trying to play the hot hand.
That's what happened with SMCI. It cooled off, and then I left SMCI and I went into Webull, and then the Webull cooled off. And then it came back, and now it's kind of cooling again. So I'm kind of like, gotta figure out my plan.
Yeah, someone mentioned, who is it? Keith, Bitfarms, BITF. I'm not familiar with that ticker, but 72 cents up to 340.
That's a
in
different
a
game.
couple months. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting tickers to trade, and I generally recommend. I know some people hate when I say this. Diversification.
Yeah, have a couple of things that are a little more stable if you can, and then have fun.
Yeah, diversify. So you don't
ones.
generally want to bet your entire account on one of these. You want to have some stable, profitable, growing revenue companies, and then go have some fun with some of these with a reasonable amount of money that you're willing to gamble with.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I prefer to do it. Dink says LPSN is a turnaround story. He says, don't sleep on live person. All right.
On Sunday night, I make a little bunch of Post-it notes, and I write the ticker symbol down on them, and then I stick them all over the dartboard, and I throw the dart. Wherever the dart hits, that's the one for Monday morning.
We still need to get the chicken shit bingo stock picking thing going, Mediocre. I need to go build that damn thing out in the backyard.
I like to do a $5 review towards the end of the year, so I'll have to check in with you.
Here was my idea, May.
$5 stocking stuffers. I haven't had really good luck with the $5 stocking stuffers, but they're only $5, so
May, have you heard of in Texas chicken shit bingo?
Is that where you put the bingo thing out, and wherever the chicken poops, that's the
there are bars here.
Yeah.
There are bars here with a bingo card, and you just sit there and you buy beers and hang out for a few hours. They give you the bingo cards, but the chicken, wherever it drops, its droppings during the evening, those are your bingo card. B13, 04. I was thinking about doing the same thing with stocks, except having the audience recommend 25 tickers and put them on a bingo card, and then go film it live out on the back deck. And that'll be the stocks that I buy for that week. Let's just see if it beats the market. Some random tickers.
Isn't there a guy who has a puppy or something that decides what stocks are gold, longer or short gold or something like that?
I don't know, but that would be entertaining. I mean, DM me if you think of it.
Okay, if I find I can't be the only one that has seen this person on Instagram who basically has some sort of pet. I think it's on gold. And apparently the pet is a fairly decent gold trader.
Is it a golden retriever?
I mean, that would be the best, right? That would be the ideal.
Dan says, not financial advice. Yes, Dan, it is. Chickens do not give financial advice.
I mean, I think you shouldn't sell this chicken short, to be honest, but I mean, at least hear the chicken out, for goodness sakes.
Why did you pick this stock?
That's actually quite low.
All right, guys. May and Mediocre, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Hopefully y'all learned something about Webull tonight. Again, we're not covering it because we're recommending Webull. It was a learning exercise. Mediocre is trading it. And
be careful on Monday, guys. Okay, be careful on Monday.
Keep us posted how that goes, Mediocre. My final question for you: you're running option strategies on it? Are you doing weeklies on that?
Absolutely, only weeklies.
As per normal with you, you're only running weeklies. All right,
that's right.
To know.
In case I need to exit.
Good to know.
Watch that Monday, okay? Watch that Monday.
Stick around tomorrow. Keep an eye on the channel tomorrow. If anything spicy is going on with GameStop or Bed Bath & Beyond with those warrant dividends dropping tomorrow, I might be streaming all day. If it's just a boring day, then we'll do a market close 1 hour live stream. All right. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, May.
All right. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Night.